Good day, students. Welcome back to Co-Series at School's Learning English Online. For today, I will be teaching the P.6 English grammar, and we will talk about the topic present perfect and past perfect sentences. But before that, let me hear something from you. How are you today? That's very nice to hear. I am very well too. So, let's proceed to our topic by opening your book on page 55. Again, please open your book on page 55. Are you ready? Me too. For today, we will be learning about 3 topics with regards to present perfect and past perfect. So we have here the first one is irregular and regular verbs. Okay, again, what will be our first topic? Irregular and regular verbs. Next, present perfect tense. Again, present perfect tense. Next, past perfect tense. What is our next topic? Very good. Past perfect tense. So let's start with our first topic, irregular and regular verbs. We have here a list of base form of a verb, past tense, and past participle. In this manner, we can identify the differences between regular and irregular verbs. Okay, now we have here talk in the base form. In the past tense, it will become talked. And in the past participle, it will become the same, talked. Okay, you are just going to add ed. Next, we have write in the base form or in the present tense. And in the past tense, it will become wrote. And in the past participle, it will become written. And the next one is the word tell. In the past tense, it will become told. And in the past participle, it will become told. Next, the word is watch. Okay, and then in the past tense, it will become watched. Again, watched. And in the past participle, it will become watched. The same with the past tense. Now, class, can you tell me which of these verbs are regular and irregular? Let's start with regular. Which do you think from these words are regular? Okay, we have the regular verbs, talked. As what you can see, you're just going to add ed when you change it to past tense and past participle. Now, of course, the irregular verb is wrote and told, or we have here the write and tell. Why do you think so? Why do you think so it is considered as irregular verbs? Because, as what you can see, the spelling and pronunciation of these words changes as you change it from past tense to past participle. Did you get it? Let me explain further. When we talk about regular verbs, these are verbs that d or ed is added in the past and past participle form. So we have here, just like the example, start in the base form. In the past, it will become started. And in the past participle, it will become started. So there are ed. And next, we have here the word wash. In the base form, it's wash. In the past tense, it will become washed. And in the past participle, the same, washed. How about the irregular verbs? When we talk about irregular verbs, these are verbs which may have changes in spelling or pronunciation in its past and past participle form. So we have here the examples. The word take. When you change it to its past form, it will become took. Take, took. And when you change took to past participle, it will become taken. Take, took, taken. Okay, now we have another example. The word is go. The base form of the word go is go, and its past form is went. Its past participle is gone. As what you can see or notice in the irregular verbs, the spelling changes from time to time whenever you transform it to its past or past participle form. Take, took, taken. Go, went, gone. Aside from spelling, the pronunciation, of course, also changed. So, is that clear for you? That's good. So, remember that today our topic is all about past perfect and present perfect tense. And we are going to use the past participle of the verbs. Again, past participle of the verbs when you use or when we talk about past perfect or present perfect. So, let's move on. We'll go directly to our second topic, which is the present perfect. When we talk about present perfect, what does it mean? It means that we use the present perfect to say that an action happened at an unspecified time before now. So we have here the drawing. So of course, when we talk about now, it is the present. And it says here that we are just going to use present perfect if the time is unspecified. When you talk about unspecified, meaning you are not sure, but it happens before now or just happened a while ago. So we have here another definition or another function. You cannot use the present perfect with specific time expressions such as yesterday, 1 year ago, last week, when I was a child, when I lived in Japan, at the moment, that day, one day, and etc. Meaning, if you are not sure with the time and you are just talking for an action that happened before now, we are going to use present perfect tense. Now, let's move to another definition or function. We can use the present perfect with unspecific expressions such as ever, never, once, many times, several times, before, so far, already, and yet, and so on, etc. So, okay, only the specific terms, which includes ever, never, once, many times, these words, you may use present perfect tense with these time expressions. Because these time expression expresses on specific time. Okay? Did you get it? I hope so. So now let's move on to the pattern, rules and pattern of present perfect tense. Again, present perfect tense, rules and pattern. Let's start with has plus past participle. Okay, when we talk about has plus past participle, it is only used when the subject is singular, which includes the pronoun he, she, or it. If these words are your subjects, meaning you are going to use has plus past participle of the verb. Can you still remember a while ago? I told you that when we talk about present perfect and past perfect, we are going to use the past participle of the verb. So now, let's have the rule for the usage of have plus past participle. We are just going to use this if the subject is plural. Again, when we talk about plural, it is two or many. And if these pronouns I, you, we, they, although I is not plural, it follows the rule of a plural because it is an exception. I and you is an exception in this rule, meaning that if your subject is I or you are going to use have plus past participle of the verb. Let's have an example for the has. He has sold cars since 2001. He has sold cars since 2001. As what you can see, we use has plus the past participle of the word sell, which is has sold. And we use the time expression since, because since may mean that anytime in 2001 or anytime before now, he has been selling a car or he has sold a car. He has sold cars. Next, we have another example. Johnny has never taught English. Johnny has never taught English. So we have here, the subject is Johnny, only one, which means singular. So we use has plus never as a time expression, taught as the past participle of the word or of the verb teach, which is taught. Johnny has never taught English. Now let's move on to the example of have plus past participle. We have here, I have learned my English since I was young. I have learned my English since I was young. We have here the subject I, which is also here, meaning it applies the rule have plus past participle of the verb. And then we have here the past participle of the verb learn, learned. And then the time expression since. Next, Josh and Martha have known each other for 5 years. Again, Josh and Martha have known each other for 5 years. We have two persons in the sentence, which means that our subject is plural. And if it's plural, we use have plus past participle of the verb, which means have, past participle of know is known. Josh and Martha have known each other for 5 years. Okay, we're finished with the example. Now let's move on to our third topic. Our third topic is all about past perfect tense. Again, past perfect tense. When we talk about past perfect tense, this is the definition. Past perfect tense used to show that something happened before another action in the past. Again, used to show that something happened before another action in the past. If in the present perfect, it happens before now, an action happened before now. In the past perfect tense, an action happened before a past action. So we have here the timeline. Okay, we have here, this is the now, and this is the past. Meaning, a word here must be in past tense, but here, it should be in past perfect. Let's have an example later. Let's move on to another definition or function of past perfect tense. When we talk about past perfect tense, it can also be used to show that something happened before a specific time in the past. Okay? So we have here the examples. But before the examples, let's learn first the past perfect tense pattern. Class, the past perfect tense pattern is only one. Had plus the past participle of the verb. Unlike the present perfect tense, we have has plus past participle of the verb and have plus past participle of the verb. But here in past perfect tense, we only use had plus past participle of the verb, which means that whether your subject is singular or plural, as long as it's in the past, we are going to use this pattern. Had plus past participle of the verb. Do you understand? That's good. And you will understand more with these examples. So we have here an example. He had sold cars before he became rich. Class, notice this. There are two actions in the sentence. The first one is in past perfect tense. Had sold. Meaning, had plus the past participle of the word sell. Had sold. And then another verb here is became, which is in the past form. And as what I told you a while ago when we talk about past perfect tense, it is an action before a past action. So meaning, before he became rich, he had sold cars. Did you get it? Always remember that in past perfect tense, there will be two actions. One is in the past perfect tense and the other one is in past tense. Now we have here the timeline. Okay, the past action or the past tense is became. Before he became rich, of course he had sold cars. Did you get it? That's great. So we have here another example. Of course, using had plus past participle of the verb, whether our subject is singular or plural. The sentence goes like this. They had cleaned the house before they went to Central Plaza. They had cleaned the house before they went to Central Plaza. Now, before they went here is a simple past. And had cleaned here is a past perfect. Meaning, before the past action went, another past action have just happened. So we have here the timeline. Of course, they went to Central Plaza, which is in the past, but before they went, they had cleaned the house. Did you get it? I hope you get it with my illustration here. So, we are finished with the past perfect tense. We are finished with the regular and irregular verbs, present perfect tense, and past perfect tense. This time, let us try to answer some exercises to test your understanding about our discussion a while ago. So, let's start. Number 1. Let's follow this instruction. Identify whether the verb is regular or irregular. Again, if it's regular, what does it look like? Okay, you remember very well. The verb has just added D or ED from its present form to its past form up unto its past participle form. And when we talk about irregular verb, it means that the verb's spelling or pronunciation changes from time to time as you change it from simple, present, to past tense, to past participle. So we have number 1. The word is right. Do you think it's regular or irregular? Say your answer louder, please. Very good. It is irregular. Why do we say it's irregular? Because the past tense of write is wrote and its past participle is written. Next, we have the word sleep. Sleep. Now, do you think sleep is regular or irregular? Say it again. Very good. It is irregular. Why do you think it's irregular? Okay, you remembered it. Sleep, the past tense of it is slept. And of course, the past participle is slept. Sleep, slept, slept. Next, number 3. The verb is watch. What is watch? Is it regular or irregular? Very good. It is regular. Why? Because when you're going to transform it to its past form, you are just going to add ed. It will become watched. And in its past form or past participle form, watched. The same with its past tense. Now, we have another verb, number 4. The verb is eat. Now, what do you think is the correct answer for this? Regular or irregular? Very good. It is irregular. Why do you think it's irregular? Okay, that's nice. You are now explaining it very well. Because it becomes ate when you change it to its past form. And it will become eaten when you change it to its past participle form. That's good. So now, let's have another exercise pertaining to present perfect or past perfect tense. Let's start with number 1. But before that, let's read the instruction. Complete the sentence by writing the correct verb form. Okay, so let's start with number 1. The children blank the food before they played. Okay, we have here played as a simple past action. Remember, before the simple past happened another verb. So what should be the form? Present perfect or past perfect? And remember our subject, it is plural. What is your answer again? Very good. The correct answer is had eaten. Because our sentence has 2 verbs. The simple past and the blank, which is in the past perfect. So now we have number 2. Mark blank English for 10 years. Mark blank English for 10 years. And the verb here is the word study. What should be the correct verb form that we should write on the blank? Is it in the present perfect or past perfect form? Okay, since this sentence doesn't have any other verb, which means that our sentence must be in the present perfect tense. So, of course, since our subject is singular, when it's in the present perfect tense, we will use has or have. Very good. Has plus the past participle of the verb study, that will become has studied. Has studied. Next, number 3. Number 3 says, Jackie blank for 2 hours. Jackie blank for 2 hours. What do you think is the correct answer for this? Very good. Has cried. Has cried. That's good. Next, number 4. My parents blank in Canada since December. My parents blank in Canada since December. And the verb here is live. So what will happen to live? Would it follow present perfect or past perfect? Very good. It should follow present perfect because in the sentence we don't have any other verbs, which means that the sentence or the action happened just before now. So we are going to write have lived. The past participle of live is lived. Next, number 5. My teacher blank the answer after she discussed the lesson. My teacher blanked the answer after she discussed the lesson. Now, as what you can observe in this sentence, it has, very good, it has another verb, discussed, meaning there should be another verb before this verb happened. And that means that our verb should be in the past perfect tense. That means we are going to use the helping verb had plus the past participle given. Past participle of give, given. Next, we have number 6, the last number. Fred blank after he watched TV. Fred blank after he watched TV. And the verb here is sleep. Sleep. What do you think should be the correct form of verb in this sentence? Notice that there is another verb here, which is in the simple past form. So what should be the correct answer for this sentence? Very good. It should be in the past perfect form, meaning we are going to use the pattern had plus past participle, which means that had plus the past participle of sleep is slept. Fred had slept after he watched TV. Do you understand now? Very good. I'm very happy that you are learning very fast. Clap your hands for yourself. Great work. Before we will end this topic, let's have a review. It's review time. So we'll have, when we talk about regular and irregular verbs, regular verbs, okay, these are verbs that D or ED is added in the past and past participle form. We have start, it will become started, started, wash, washed, washed. And in the irregular verbs, these are verbs which may have changes in spelling or pronunciation in its past and past participle form. We have here the example, take, took, taken. Changes in spelling and pronunciation. Go, went, and gone. Changes in spelling again and pronunciation. That is the differences of regular verbs and irregular verbs. So, remember that when we talk about present perfect or past perfect tense, we will always use the past participle of the verbs. Remember that. Present perfect tense, it means that we use this to indicate that an action happened at an unspecified time before now. Okay, just before now, something happened, which is still in the present. So we have here, before the present, an action happened. Okay? Next, the formula or the pattern in present perfect tense is has plus past participle if our subject is singular, which includes the pronoun he, she, it. If these pronouns will be your subject, that means you are going to use has plus past participle of the verb. Next, have plus past participle. We use this if our subject is very good, plural, and that includes the pronoun I, you, we, and they. Although I is singular, it follows the rule for plural. That is an exemption. Although you can be singular or plural, it still follows the rule for plural because it's an exemption. Always remember that. So we have an example here. He has sold cars in 2001. Another example is Johnny has never taught English. We have here singular subjects, he and Johnny. That's why we use has sold and then has never. Another example for the plural form, I have learned my English since I was young. Okay, so we have here, I have learned. Have learned because our subject is I, which is an exception. Next, example number 2, Josh and Martha have known each other for 5 years. Okay, we have here have known. Have because our subject is plural, Josh and Martha. And known as the past participle of the verb know. Let's proceed. Past perfect tense. When we talk about past perfect tense, it means that it shows that something happened before another action in the past. So we have here can be the past action happened. So we have here another past action. So let's proceed to its formula or pattern. Past perfect tense, we only have one pattern, that is had plus past participle of the verb, whether your subject is singular or plural. So we have here an example. He had sold cars before he became rich. Notice that there are two verbs in this sentence. Sold, had sold, and became. So before the subject became rich, he had sold cars. So we have here the illustration. Became in the past, and before that specific action, another action happened, which is had sold. Next, we have here another example. The same, had plus past participle of the verb, whether our subject is singular or plural. The sentence we have is, they had cleaned the house before they went to Central Plaza. So notice that there are two verbs in this sentence. We have went and cleaned. So let's view our illustration to further understand. Went is in the past. And before went happened, another verb has just happened. And that is had cleaned. So, we are finished with our lesson for today. I hope you really learned well about regular and irregular verbs, present perfect tense, and past perfect tense. See you soon. Thank you and goodbye.